coming to you live from Mooby's It's the 10 Point Podcast. My name is Bruce, and I get to watch movies, fuck with people, and hang out with my best friends all day. Can you think of a better way to make a living? Speaking of which, 10pointpodcast.com. You can sponsor us over there, head over there, give us any sort of money, and we can make a living doing all those things I just listed. With me on the podcast today, 6 nuts and retard strong, it's Chris.
Pickle fucker.
And now that the podcast is getting popular, he's thinking about taking it on the road, taking it in the ass, that is. It's Andy.
Well, I thought you were going to call me Kinky Kelly, so I'll kind of go with that.
I thought you'd go for that, something like that as well, actually, at some point.
We are the 10 Point Podcast. You can find us everywhere that does podcasts, which is about 3/4 of the internet these days. Type in 10 Point Podcast and you can hear us there. You can see us on YouTube on our 10 Point broadcasts over on there. And we are broadcasting on Spotify too. So if you want to listen to us on Spotify, look down at your phone. You actually might see our handsome faces looking back at you, talking our usual nonsense. 10 Point Podcast, just type it in on the internet. You'll find something that we've done somewhere. 10pointpodcast.com. If you are a business, head over there and sponsor us. And we have other bits and pieces there too. That's it. We've done. We've got our news podcast. We did what we watched this week. It was nothing. Spoiler. We haven't watched it yet, but we have talked about what's coming up, what we will be watching over on the 10 Point Podcast news. But it's on the same feed, so you've probably seen it or heard it already. So point number one, as quick as that. I think that might be a record, the quickest we've ever got from the start. The point number
it's all right,
one.
Chris will extend this out.
Point number one, what's the point? What is the point of the podcast this week? The 2006 comedy Clerks 2 is the point of the podcast. Brought to us by the Weinstein Company, who did Django Unchained. We'll talk no further about the Weinstein Company. And View Askew, Kevin Smith's own production company, that also did Clerks and Dogma, 2 previous Kevin Smith films that we have done. Based on the film Clerks from 1994, it got a 7 out of 10 from the 10 Point Podcast. The Clerks, 2 votes of 7 and a vote of 6. The 6 was me. And a sequel to that, with all of the main characters returning, well, a majority of the main characters returning. Written and directed by Kevin Smith. I won't go into his biography because this is the second time in 2 seasons I've done it. Never mind the 3rd time overall. So, you know Kevin Smith. We've talked about him before. He's brought out a sequel to Clerks that we're doing now. Starring as Dante Hicks, BrianOHalloran is back. In his most famous role, he was famous for being in Clerks. He was also in Mallrats and was in Jay and Silent Bob. You can see the trend there. He's in Kevin Smith. And like I say, this is his most famous role and biggest role, and he doesn't do anything too huge outside of this. As Randal Graves, Jeff Anderson is back in his most famous role as Randal. We covered him in Clerks. He's also been in Jay and Silent Bob, and he's also been in Zack and Miri and other movies. That was that written by Kevin Smith or directed?
Yeah.
One or the other.
It was written.
But yes, you can see the trend there. Jeff Anderson's been in a couple of other things, but yeah, the 2 of them, Kevin Smith actors, basically, in Kevin Smith stuff. So, as I've forgotten her name, I didn't write it in my notes. Who did Rosario Dawson play in this film?
Becky.
Becky, that's right. Bex. Rosario Dawson, famous for being in such things as Men in Black 2, Welcome to the Jungle or The Rundown, depending where you are. That's the Rock shout out on this episode. She was in Sin City and then was in Rent before being cast in Clerks 2. Afterwards, Death Proof, Eagle Eye, Unstoppable, where I realised she basically plays the same character in Unstoppable as she does in this. It's the same role, except she works in the transport sector rather than in a fast food restaurant. She's been in Daredevil and all that lot over on the Marvel Netflix shows that are on Disney+. She's been in an episode at least of every one of those. She was in the Lego Batman movie, which was one of her known for on IMDb, the Lego Batman movie, like fair play, if that's what she's known for. And she's now Ahsoka in The Mandalorian, etc., in the Star Wars universe, which will probably be her defining character for her career if all goes well for Ahsoka and all that. So they are our main 3 stars, our 2 returning characters, and probably the only movie star actually in the film. A couple pop up here and there, but Rosario Dawson's in it. On a budget of $5 million is what I got quoted for this film. Seems very low. I mean, they're in the one building for the entire time, basically, but $5 million. Opened it in the US and Canada. I don't know why this one's specifically and Canada. $10 million opening weekend. Final US and Canada gross, $24 million. Final worldwide gross, $27 million. So only made $3 million outside of North America. But still,
makes sense.
Still 5 times its budget. Released 21st of July 2006 2 months later in the UK means that it was eligible, awkwardly, for both 2006 2007 awards seasons, because it came out in the summer. Speaking of awards, just for context, Clerks won at the Season 2 Pointy Awards, the first Clerks movie. Was second in the best film voting, was the original one of these. BrianOHalloran lost via tiebreaker the worst actor award to 10 Point Podcast Hall of Famer Peter Dinklage.
Hey.
Talking of how universes could have gone different directions with certain, there's that one there. But Clerks at the Pointy Awards in Season 2 won the now retired Best Scene Award. We don't have Best Scene anymore. But Randal's X-rated video order won Best Season. Best
Oh yeah, I remember
I
that.
feel like Chris is going to bring back best scene now.
Right, maybe. So
I
Clerks
might
won a pointy of second overall of the season, but only won one pointy. But on to Clerks 2, its awards. At the so-called major awards of 2007, only got one nomination at any of the awards ceremonies that we care about. The 2007 MTV Movie Awards, one nomination, Dirtiest Mouth Moment, Jason Mewes and Kevin Smith. I cannot find what specifically it was for, what the moment was. But obviously it's Jay and Silent Bob. I'm assuming mainly Jay. They were the only nominee, and they won, obviously. But I can't find them on, like, Wikipedia doesn't have that award listed. But on other places it says they won that award. So randomly they may or may not have won an MTV Movie Award for swearing, basically. And then the real awards ceremony, the only one we care about that isn't the Pointy Awards, the Saturn Awards. 2006 or 2007, not one nomination at all.
No.
For Clerks 2.
Doesn't happen very often.
Doesn't
Even the
happen very
shits
often.
films get nominated.
Exactly. So yeah, this is very unnominated. Even I think maybe something like 6 or 9 in its history. But yeah, not much.
Well, it's still in the running for pointies. Season
still-
6 pointies.
Still will be represented at the Pointies, probably, because every film does one way or another. Clerks 2 got a synopsis of the film written by Claudio from Rio de Janeiro,
Yeah,
Brazil.
boy.
He's ahead
He
of
needs to come on this podcast, I'm telling you.
He says about Clerks 2. In New Jersey, when Dante arrives to open the convenience store Quick Stop Groceries, he finds the place on fire. Dante and his friend Randal find another job at the fast food restaurant Mooby's, managed by Becky, and work with the Christian employee Elias. Drug dealers, Jay and Silent Bob, also move their traffic spots to this new location. Dante is planning a new life in Florida with his fiancée Emma, while his friend Becky does not believe in romantic love. On the eve of Dante's departure to Florida, Randal decides to throw a farewell/bachelor party for his best friend. However, things go wrong and Dante rethinks his future. Didn't say the thing this time, but there you go. That is what happens in this film, really. Who picked it? Chris picked it. Why did you pick it?
Well, I realise I've made a bit of a huge mistake here. Like, I've missed some films out from the View Askew series that would have worked in my my theme this season.
Is your theme the View Askew universe?
It's not. Andrew already
That's
said
what I
that
thought it
last
was
time.
going to be.
But it still would have worked. But it has something to do with it. But I thought, you know, we've done Clerks. I thought we'd just stick. Apparently, I'm paying for not picking sequels, so I picked a sequel, an actual sequel, not a series sequel, if you know what I mean.
Okay. We've all seen it before, I assume.
No, that's the first time I'd watched it.
Chris hadn't watched this, blew my mind.
What?
Yeah.
All right, that's caught me off guard. Okay, well I own the DVD, but I think I maybe saw it in the cinema. I'm not positive. Did I see it with you, Andy? Maybe.
I think
like-
so. I would have.
Does
Like,
it-
you'd been running at a time when I was proper all over this. So
Yeah, 2011. Is that what it was? No, 2007. Maybe 2006. Maybe I wouldn't have seen it with you actually. But yeah, I think I maybe saw it in the cinema, but I'm not sure in what context. But yeah, I own the DVD. Have you got some sort of special edition DVD, Andy? It sounds like the sort of thing you
I've got
meant.
the DVD and I've just got the Blu-ray recently.
Okay. So Chris hadn't seen it before. Okay.
No, I haven't seen. Well, obviously, third one's not out yet, but I'd never seen the first one or the second one until I started
That's the podcast.
doing the podcast.
See, this is the
so
point of this podcast: watching films that you never watch.
good films. Is the plan.
Yeah.
What channel will we see it on? I don't think this would be broadcast in the UK, but I think Film 4 would be nailed on.
I would
Yeah,
say
yeah,
film
yeah.
4 if it was going to be anything.
Yeah, I think so. And which version did we watch? Well, there only is one version. However, the American TV version of Clerks 2, they blur out the word monkey from the back of Randal's customized shirt that he wears. So
What?
just the word monkey. So basically it says porch for life on the back, or porch blur for life. I cannot find out whether they censor the word monkey in his discussion or not, but apparently in the TV version, the the word monkey is blurred out on his shirt. And that's the only difference I could find about versions and all that sort of stuff. On to point 2 then, the high points, what we thought the best bits were and things about the film. Chris, you picked it, why don't you start off?
Well, I'm going to go to the start. Before I watched Clerks 2, I watched Clerks with Nicola, because I don't think she'd seen it. And she wasn't a fan of the black and white. And so when this started up and the car pulled up and it was black and white, she's like, oh, for fuck's sake, it's not black and white again, is it? And then as soon as you open the shutter, you just see the flames, and she's like, oh, okay, no, there is colour.
Did you know that it was colour when you watched it?
Did I see a trailer? No, I don't think I did. No,
So
I've seen
so it's
pictures of
exciting
it, so
for
I
you
knew
as
there
well.
was colour.
Right, okay.
I've seen like memes and things from it, so I did know there was colour. But I didn't know when it started.
See, that's good. So
I did like Randal's first line of terrorists.
yeah,
Oh,
it was
It just
good. Yeah.
straight away they're onto it. Just Randall's back.
Randal being Randal.
And I think this would have been straight after like their fight as well, like BrianOHalloran and thingy.
Yeah, fan.
They'd have fallen out and they didn't like each other that much. I think this is the one that they came back to
I
do.
think so. That does sound familiar to me. Yeah.
So yeah, that line just like, terrorists. No,
I
I
just
left the coffee pot again.
just the look that he gives somebody. Why? Like, it doesn't have to be like, what are you talking about? Of course it wasn't. It's just the
I'm
look
pretty
that-
sure I use that line with Sean like all the time when this came out. Because anything with something wrong, terrorists.
So my first high point is quite early, but it's not the first scene. I'm in Moobies at this point, so I don't know if anyone's got anything that comes before that. But when Becky drives up, and then Dante's like waving at him, and all of a sudden Randal just appears. What the fuck was that? What? That wave? What are you doing? Then it goes like, that's the sort of thing that I pick up on as well. It's like, why people wave at people when you're just about to speak? Like, she's coming this way. It's just like, yeah, I like the little.
To be fair, she waved first. If somebody just got out of the car, I wouldn't go like that. Hi. I'd wait for them to like maybe wave. I'd just go, you all right?
Yeah.
So I think it's more Becky's fault.
It's because you should do that when people come into your work, Chris. If they're just like at the door, just wave at them first before they actually walk in.
I mean, it's a good way to keep customers away. As well.
I don't know
Look,
the
not
crazy
going in
guy.
there.
I think there's going to be a lot of Randal popping up because literally anytime he was on screen, just anything
I think
he
this
said.
this is the problem we had with Clerks 1 when we reviewed it. Any scene with Randall pretty much is a high
Stole it.
point.
I would not be surprised if that's why BrianOHalloran and Jeff Anderson fell out, which was BrianOHalloran, I'm meant to be the star of this film, but you steal every scene we're in together. Might be maybe the root of the problem.
That's just called good acting.
Oh well, yeah, well, and one of them is, and one of them isn't.
So,
any others?
I'll go with a
I've
high
got a
point.
bunch.
Usually it's like a pornographic scene, but just the idea of movies, it sounds amazing.
Yeah.
Apparently, it's filmed in the next Burger King
It was,
So,
yes.
restaurant.
I don't know what it is, and this film, it's always in my mind, like a little nugget of a memory. And then when I've watched this film, I was like, this is where it comes from. Is what is it, like egg
Egg a
product?
movie muffin.
No, but just in the kitchen where you
Oh,
slice
the
it.
roll,
Egg
yeah, the
product or
slice
something
roll.
like that.
Yeah, it's the egg style product, and I'm just looking at it
Yeah.
like, why does that look so tasty? Like, it should be awful. It should be appalling. I don't know how you make eggs into that shape. How much of it is actually egg
Yeah.
or whatever it was. But
That's what
it's like-
McDonald's used to use.
Yeah.
It's like, how did they do it?
To be fair, that burger, anything they cooked apart from the chips, looked really good.
yeah,
Apart from
even-
the fly stuff.
I wouldn't eat the flies, no. But yeah, outside of the flies, it looked really good. Yeah, the food, and also the names. I love the food names, and it's like, yeah, the egg and Mooby muffin. I was like, that does sound.
The cow tipper. It's like,
Cow
oh,
tipper, yeah.
It just works. So yeah, just movies in general gets a high point for me. It's just
Yeah.
it is fun.
Right,
Uh,
I'm going to go to it. I'm going to go to the scene. It's nearly killed me. I was drinking a beer and I spat it out. The Buffalo Bill dance.
Buffalo Bill.
I was as soon as Jay's reaction to it, as soon as it starts playing music, ooh!
Yeah,
I used to just go like that, the lip seal or something like that.
it is my next high point. It's for me. It's the fact that I'm bored as shit, whatever it was he says. So Silent Bob's like, I know what to do. I'll go play the music from Silence of the Lambs that Buffalo Bill dances around to, and it's just
I thought that was it because he does a lot of dancing in the first one, and then he just started dancing. He was like, that'll be the end of it.
Yeah.
And then out come Emma and Dante, and he's standing there with his mangina tucked between his legs. Like floored me when it happened.
Yeah, the trivia told me that's one of several things that are in this film that people would do. So Kevin Smith in the film. So apparently Jason Mewes would do that to Kevin Smith. Would just all of a sudden strip off and just be standing there Buffalo Bill style. So
I'd love to just be like a fly in the wall of their houses or the room, wherever it's just seeing Jason Mewes just randomly stripping off, dancing to Buffalo Bill.
And then it comes back at the end. It's not one of my high points, but the fact that they're outside the quick stop and then the music comes on again.
It's just his reaction of "ooh."
Yeah. I must like when I first watched it, I didn't like Jane Silent Bob like on this one because like I came from Jane Silent Bob Strike Back to being like Jane Silent Bob being at their full element to then coming into this one being a lot more tamer. However, the more I've watched them, it's like I actually do like the Christian Reformed Jane Silent Bob, and it's just his line of the holy fucking Bible, sirs.
Yeah. It's one of my high. I had it at the end of my high points, but I might as well put it in now. For me, this is the perfect amount of Jane Silent Bob. They play Jane Silent Bob to the perfect level where they are in the film. They're important, like they matter to the storyline, but they're not overbearing. Like in Jane Silent Bob, it's about them, which that is slightly different. But every other one of like Dogma is a wee bit too much, although they're entertaining and all. But they play Jane Silent Bob to the perfect level for me. And then I do quite like Chris kind of mentioned it sort of earlier that they do have a storyline that goes through it all. Like they don't just pop up, oh, here's those two idiots that are in all the films. Like you say, the Reformed Christians, presumably because of Dogma, they have a whole bunch of money because of Jane Silent Bob Strike Back. It's like their story does work all the way through. But yeah, this is what I'm looking for. And of course, there's the one scene where, like, this is your time to say your line, Bob. And it's like, oh, I got nothing. And it's like playing on them. So yeah, I think this is for me the perfect amount of Jane Silent Bob is Clerks 2.
I agree.
Yep. Okay, the next one I've got is my high points. Like what I think is there's two, but this is probably the higher of the high points. Randal versus Lord of the Rings.
Yep.
Absolutely
one of the best monologues ever.
Yeah, this is the highlight of the film for me. Whenever I think of Lord of the Rings, I think of Randal's performance of what the Lord of the Rings trilogy is.
Quick question: when he's doing the second one, what's the stumble? I can't think of the stumble in Lord of the Rings 2.
I think it just makes it different. Like I said, it's not the exact same. I think it's just there's a slight difference to it. But yeah,
I would say definitely it's Helm's Deep. It gets in the way a lot of it.
Yeah, but yeah, it's just walking. It's just walking, which it's my nomination for best line. There's a lot of lines in this film, but the one actually I'm like that's the best line in the film. It's him ranting, and then even the fucking trees walked. It's just a great teardown of the Lord of the Rings movie.
I don't think I've ever spewed from being spoken shit about before.
So it's so angry. I like. Yeah. Yeah.
What was the thing he was talking about? Going, oh, it's that really fucking gay look that Samwise gives to him or something like that.
Yeah.
And he just full on squats a brick in his mouth.
Yeah. Okay, I don't hate the Lord of the Rings movies as much as Randal. However, he just makes a lot of valid points.
Oh yeah.
Yes, you're right about that. Yes, you're right about that. And yeah, the 25 endings was what really did me in. Because in the cinema, you're 3 hours deep, and you're like, oh my god, I thought this had finished already. It's like, keeps on going. But yeah, that's one of my highest high points.
My final high point is the jail scene. So is anybody anything beforehand?
I've got half the film before then. Yeah.
Jesus,
I'll let you carry on.
It's not a high point for Chris.
Well, there's loads of bits, but I've got to take note of them.
So I've got it. All right, anyone.
I'll go. I'm going to say Rosario Dawson dancing to on the top.
I didn't want to be that guy.
Well, I am, because I was watching it and Chantel was the one just like she was just randomly singing like titty jiggle, like just like it's like what are you singing? Just the little hand gestures and like the most bounciest boobs you've ever seen. You can't be said.
Allegedly, Kevin Smith hadn't noticed, and Rosario Dawson was like, "Well, everyone's going to love this scene," and he's like, "Why?" And then they watched it back when they were filming it. Like, oh, right, okay, I see now. He must have been directing other parts of the shot when it was happening. But,
I'm a full-on Dante in that scene, by the way. I can't dance. I hate dancing, so I would just be sitting there watching Rosario dancing.
But even Dante got up and then because it's such a good little random song and like even like the flash mob outside and just James and Bob just leading this flash mob.
The little pigtails are quite funny though.
It's like they've got everybody on fucking like their drugs outside and everybody just started dancing to the song.
It turned into Grease all of a sudden.
Yeah.
I've got a half high point here, so I'm splitting literally a part of the film half his high point happens. So the high half at the moment, Jeff Anderson doing the reaction acting and the ominous music in the background behind Elias talking about what pillow pants is. So Jeff Anderson just being like, hold his face, and every time it cuts back, it made me laugh. And the kind of this guy's actually a psychopath music playing in the background was incredible. I loved that.
Is that not the Shining music?
Could be. I'm not sure. It wasn't. It didn't, to my ear, sound like it was. Oh, that's exactly taken from The Shining. But it might be meant to sound like it. But yeah. Maybe that's why I liked it so much. I don't know.
But no, I'll see. Elias is like I like him coming in as a brand new character. He's just the right amount of weird, and Randal can play off of him as well. And the whole pillow pants and just his Christian beliefs. It just like even when Randal does the whole like singing the thingy song to him as well, and he just like freaks out and passes out and stuff like that.
I've got Trevor Furman as Elias as one of my high points. He isn't nothing else. He's only Elias and a couple other things. And I'm like, how is this guy not playing basically this character in about 20 different TV shows and films? He's really good at it. And Elias is played perfectly as well. Like it could be that character could be too much. And again, like what I was saying on the news about the Grey Man not believing, but I kind of believe that person exists. And I do like Randal being like, well, when Dante goes, you're going to have to be my new best friend. I quite like that. I know that Andy will have this as a high point. I'm surprised Chris didn't have it, but just the porch monkey scene, like that.
Yeah, I don't want to put it as a high point.
but it is really
it is a good
from us, like especially like we're from a small like all those racial slurs he rattles off. Genuinely, I didn't know what they were. Like one, I wouldn't use half of them because none of them make sense to us over here.
Yeah.
But like porch monkey, it's like genuinely when he says it, it's like I've got no reaction to that. It's like it doesn't offend. I don't know why that's offensive. Then they explain it, so it's a good and bad scene at the same time.
Do you know what's funny is I don't know the names, but Wanda Sykes and another guy were having an equally racist conversation about the Mexicans.
Yeah. I've got Wanda Sykes as one of the main bits in this. Wanda Sykes is somehow her stand-up was really, really funny, but her in this scene is amazing, and the stuff that she fires back with is so funny. And her and the play with the husband. I watched it. I wound it back and I showed Jade. I'm like, this is me and you in this situation, and so I made her watch it, and I'm like, I'd still be trying to take the food, and she'd be like, I'm principled, you cannot take that food, but the food isn't racist or whatever it was. That's totally what I feel like. But then so watch the scene and Jade's like, what is porch monkey? So I had to explain, and she's like, well, I had no idea about it either. So I don't think it's not a widely known thing. It's very much
I don't even think it is that big in America, in all fairness. I mean,
it never came up in anything I ever watched from America.
No, so it's a great scene, but just it's when he goes into all the other rants and he's like, oh, my aunt did call a broken bottle a nigger knife once. It's like, oh, it's just a great thing to end on as well. It's just like, the entire thing was racist.
Small high point for me, just Jay getting hit by the door was funny.
I forgot about that. What the fuck?
Like 3 times, brilliant.
You're right. It's the noise because the camera just follows Becky out, and you can just hear him with the this is what.
Right, I'm gonna put it. So everybody's gonna dick around it. The Kinky Kelly scene.
The donkey show. I've got it as a high point.
Right. It's got to be up there, right? I'm going to bring it back. I'm going to nominate it later on for best scene. It is one of the pinnacle scenes in cinematic history, right?
Okay, the donkey show.
Hear me out in this one. There's so much drama going on, right? So you've got it. It's like it's over the top. It's disgusting. You don't want to see it. You only ever get clips going on. You can hear things going in the background. But then you've got Elias just having a breakdown. Brilliant. You've got Jane Silent Bob which most people are just like sitting there disgusted. But then you have this proper scene, like the most tragic scene ever, like Dante's life falling apart. He's like, his future wife comes in. Jay then drops the bomb, all with this guy shagging a donkey. It's amazingly put together.
It's like, obviously, I knew it was coming, but I'll throw it to Chris. I think it's a good twist that you can see coming, but you don't necessarily know all the elements, but I think it's a good twist. I don't know how.
I generally thought it was going to stop before it happened. Like somebody's going to come in and be like, or I thought it was going to start and then Becky would come in and be like, oh shit, and it would stop and it would never go as far as it did.
It's the fact that Becky's like appalled by it, but she's not exactly stopping it. She's like, well, you're not going to see this every day, yeah.
As soon as she walks in, look at the size of that dick.
as Andy mentioned, it's a good Jason Mewes scene. He's good in his, and again, it's just the right amount of him coming in. He's not like being unnecessarily crude. He's actually playing into the story, and then he gives us a cake back, doesn't he?
Yeah, that was brilliant. It just ended so well. It's one of my favorite scenes, like in cinema.
Yeah.
It's just so well put together. It just
Yeah.
this build up, and it's just a donkey show in the background. It's like, what the hell?
And it's like you say, the donkey show. It's the audience and it's the marriage breaking down. It's 3 scenes all happening at the same time, and it's like cuts back, and there's all the sexy stud doing something else weirder and weirder and all that. Yeah. But yeah, it is a good scene. I can't argue.
And that song is always in my head, though.
No, I can't even think of it. I think I've just purged it.
It's just it's just music, isn't it? There's no like words or anything like that. That's me hit all my high points because the last 2 were Jay, Silent Bob, and Elias. Sorry, so I don't mind any others.
Well, mine's just the jail scene. Like, it's quite emotional. The scene, like, I didn't realize they'd fallen out in real life, but you see them arguing, and then they start talking about buying the quick stop, and out of nowhere, there's this little voice of Jay. You've got money.
Yeah.
It got me in the feels.
Well, you guys watched the Jay and Silent Bob reboot yet?
No.
If you watch that, the very similar thing happens is Ben Affleck and Kevin Smith.
Right.
Obviously, the internet knows that they fell out, but apparently, like, Affleck said he'll come back, he'll do the film. But when they filmed, that was the first time they sat in a room together.
Oh, okay.
So Ben Affleck was like proper method acting. It's like, right, I'm going to come in, we'll record it, like basically a one take, and it really is. It's just like it's amazingly done. And that scene pretty much between them two have a very similar thing. And obviously, I think they've worked together ever since then.
Yeah, it's the best BrianOHalloran acts in the film. Like he actually keeps up with Jeff Anderson a bit in it as well. Like Jeff Anderson has the most to do, but yeah, BrianOHalloran's actually not too bad. But yeah, it's quite good. Again, Jay, Silent Bob, the right amount of them in that scene too.
Was this what they were talking about? Learning criminology or something like that. They said, "Well, you gonna be Batman?" And then Jay started laughing and said, "Like, cover your ears. We're gonna talk about something." He said, "I love you." But not in the gay way. He goes, "Yeah, right." Like Jason Mewes, I think this is probably the best he's performed in any movie.
Yeah, he's actually, you can tell he's kind of actually acting. He's not just kind of arsing around. He's actually doing things properly. Is that us for high points? I've run dry on mine.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'll follow up my kind of half that I've done there. The whole pillow pants thing is too crazy for even a crazy person to believe.
I don't know. I feel like I had a friend back in the day. I won't name any names, but I reckon they thought this kind of thing.
Fair enough. I mean, that's a very limited audience for this joke. But no, it's an element too silly. And I feel like that segues into my other one. The ass to mouth stuff goes on too long as well. It's like, okay, you're really driving home this joke. You're not actually saying anything more. You're just okay. And then she also says, sometimes it's okay. Like too loud. Like Randal's gone over like to the corner of the room and still said it. So like it's a bit too much like, oh, that's too much setup. And that's one of the big problems I have with the film is that it's some bits are just, oh, we've come up with a really crude thing. We should talk about that in our next script. Let's write a scene about talking about this really crude thing. It's like, it's not really what life is like. Like I know these characters are like that, but it's
some of the stuff that me and Chris send on WhatsApp and
maybe. But yeah, I feel a bit the pillow pants. While I enjoyed what Jeff Anderson was doing and all that, and the scene itself, I know actually my man Trevor, his performance as well is quite good. The actual subject matter, I'm just like, there's no way a human being 18 or whatever years old would believe that. It was a bit too silly.
Like I said, I know somebody.
Another class at school.
Aye.
Okay, I think I know who you mean. I'll go for mine. My first one is Dante. He is such an unlikable person.
Yeah. For to be the hero of the story, basically, the central character.
Like he does nothing but moan about absolutely everything. You'd think if your best mate is Randal, you know fine well what he's going to say. And like he still gets offended by everything he says. It's just he's not like same in the first movie. He's not happy with just one girl. He has to just fuck her out.
That's the thing. He is a bad guy in this film. He cheats on his future wife. I mean,
he's
a bit nuts.
It was within weeks, wasn't it? It was like a short period of time. It's like it wasn't like, oh, it was months ago, and then you and I got serious, and now we're getting married. It was a matter of weeks ago, so they were well into their engagement, I would imagine.
And then, like when they break up, it's like days later he's popping the question to Becky.
No, that's
Yep.
how. That's how. Yeah, that's how the. It seemed like that's the next time he saw Becky was proposing to her. It's like a bit weird.
Yeah, he's unlikable as hell.
And
That's-
also not very good at acting.
I don't know if BrianOHalloran is just good at being unlikable, or if he's just I don't know, he just can't act or something. I don't know. It's just maybe it's just him.
Might just be that way.
Right, we've
Trying to
dashed
think of
around
low
this.
points.
I've
I
only
actually have
really
that many
got.
low points.
I've only actually got one more. We've kind of touched on everything else that I've got. So you guys have actually already mentioned it. It's not so much the scene, but the worst dance lesson ever.
Oh,
He's
yeah.
like, I'm scared of dancing, I'm worried, which is not that rare a problem. She's like, okay, then let's go up the roof and I'll teach you to dance. And then she's just like, okay, we'll put on the Jackson 5, which is that a big wedding dance song? And then she's like, I'll just start dancing, just do what I do. It's like, that's not how you teach someone to dance. She's like, well, I'm good at dancing, just do what I do. And then he like moves a little bit. She then sits him down and then just dances in front of him. Like, that's not teaching him anything, that's just you dancing. So it's a terrible lesson. But also, I was watching the scene and I'm like, it looks like they filmed this with a different song in mind and couldn't get it because it doesn't really match the music. So I did it. This was my deepest dive. We're trying to find out what was the original song they used. It wasn't. One of the first ideas Kevin Smith had for the film was, I want a dance number to ABC in it. And I'm like, well, why does no one look like they're listening to ABC during the dance number? So yeah, the whole thing wasn't great. Was
the entire dance sequence, I fucking hate it. Like,
yeah.
There was no need for it.
Also, I think it's the whole rest of the film has a washed out look about it intentionally to be as much like Clerks 1 as possible, except from the dance scene. So even the dance scene itself feels like it's different to the rest of the film because it's filmed differently as well. So yeah, it's a kind of strange enigma in the middle of it. But that's me. I'm out of low points. We've covered all the rest of mine.
Trying to think of even a low point now.
Well, I'll go for my final one. The interspecies erotica. Call it what you want. It was a guy fucking a donkey.
It certainly was. Yeah.
Could have done without it.
No,
I
it made the
think
scene.
it's fine.
Oh.
I think it's fine. I think that's something you don't see in every film. That is something unique to Clerks 2 is this. So I think it works. And there's nothing. It's not like you see it. It's just a donkey.
No.
I do have a low point. I've got one. Kevin Smith's wife. She just annoys me.
Oh, well, definitely, yeah. Actually, I forgot I haven't actually got her my low points. When it comes to an award later on, for me, it's head to head, and Kevin Smith's wife is the only other person in the running for said award. But yeah, it feels like she just gets cast in these things because is it nepotism if it's your wife? I don't know if it counts as nepotism.
Yeah.
But if you look at her, what she's been in, it's literally nothing and Kevin Smith films. Like they're way bigger than anything
that whole scene. He's directing this, and like she's full on like having Dante snogging on the swings. It's got to be weird.
That's when you're
and then
secure in your
she
marriage.
flashes on, and Kevin sitting there and right, shows your titties. If you talk, go on, do it.
She also they do not go together. I don't know if it's intentional, but Dante and Becky are very much seem more like that. Exactly, they're more likely together than Dante is with Emma. But I guess that is intentional.
Oh, I know, like the actress died afterwards. I didn't like that they didn't mention what happened to Caitlin Bree after the first film, because they talk about the funeral and how they made a mess of that, but they never mentioned whether she's still in the insane asylum or what.
Yeah, you have to watch the Clerks cartoon, the animated series.
Yeah, it said the credits, didn't it? If you want to see what happened in between, go watch these. Yeah.
Oh, I never got that far.
Yeah, right to the end of the credits. I think it was even. I got a swear at the end of the credits as well to add to the quota. I think there was something else that flagged up in my mind. I was going to mention there. I've now forgotten. Oh, yeah, they never really mentioned it. I was trying to work out how Dante met. Is Emma? Isn't it? How they met? Like, where did the relationship? Because she's very well off by the sound of things. And it sounds like they just
helicopter fly outside my house.
Oh,
it's like really loud.
It feels like she just walked into Mooby's one day and saw him and they started dating, and I'm like, what? Like they don't really seem to have anything in common. They seem very different people, and yeah, why she would want to move to Florida with some miserable guy who is very unlikable who works in a Burger King, basically
has no money.
Yeah, exactly. But yeah, it wasn't a low point.
Big
Felt like it wasn't mentioned. Maybe that's it. That's why he's always got women fighting over him, potentially. Is that us then? Light on the low points. On to point 4 on the podcast. Point 4 is the stats. I counted 25 shits. The internet says 37.
One literal shit as well.
Of course, yeah. I counted 111 F-bombs. The internet says there was 136 and also 139. So even the internet can't agree with himself. But yeah, well over 100 F-bombs. No explosions and no deaths. No deaths is key because there was at least a death in the first Clerks movie. Our normal quotas, though. I counted cows, as in I counted Moobies. Anytime I could see Mooby, like behind Andy on the video version, that counts. Behind Chris on the video version, that counts too. And there's probably some behind me on the video as well. But anytime I could see Mooby, I counted them. I got annoyed when I got 3/4 of the way into the film and Elias put on his apron that had about 50 babies. Wasn't that many, but a lot. 45 Moobies there were. And then 2 fatted calves and a goat were mentioned in reference to the deal with Dante's wedding, how they were going to get paid for and all that stuff. So there's cows and goats mentioned there, but not actually seen. Dead animal. I mean, there's loads of dead cow meat and those dead flies in one of the burgers, so you want to count them. Paedophiles. Randal walks a fine line.
Yes.
I'm not sure.
I didn't even notice it was Chantal picked up again. So we need to go back to our state checker, Bruce.
Yeah, I don't know. Where are we? New Jersey? I can have a look if I get onto something else someone could talk about at some point. But yeah, New Jersey. He did mention a 17-year-old, didn't he? So we'll see.
Yeah, I go with the basic rule of, is it Britain 17? Oh, 16. 16's legal, so right, he is borderline.
He's borderline. He's walking a very fine line. After school jailbait, whatever it was. The devil wasn't there. Randal calls Dante a Nazi, but he's not actually a Nazi. So I think we're light on those. Tom Cruise trifecta. Dante only gets the girl. He never runs or rides a motorcycle, so we only got 1 out of 3 Tom Cruise. I counted Clerks. I think there is only just the 4 of them who work behind the counter in the place, because obviously they're the ones in the quick stop as well. So I think it is just 4 clerks. The whole thing happens in less than 1 day, which is something I kind of forgotten. Like obviously the quick stop burns down. Oh no, actually the quick stop at the end. But yeah, the majority of the film is all first thing in the morning, going to work, and last thing at night, the donkey show. But most of the film is the 1 day. So basically it's 1 day. And did they say the thing? Did they say Clerks?
No.
They did. Jason Lee said Clerks. In part of his little rant against them, he mentions that they're clerks when he's complaining about them. They don't say Clerks 2, but they say Clerks. And also, did they say the thing? Not supposed to be here today.
Yes, right at the very end.
Yeah, Randal says it right at the very last scene back in the quick stop. That's it. I thought there might be another one, but they are supposed to be where they are, so it's quite difficult for them to not supposed to be there today. And that's it for stats for me. Chris, what have you got in the way of stats?
That last one leads me nicely on to my one. I counted at least 10 nods to the original Clerks film. Right. So there's the black and white opening and ending. They have a conversation about being the master of my destiny.
Oh, yeah.
There's Dante painting, I think it was toenails. It was the fingernails in the first film, but it's toenails this time.
That's weird. That I'd be really weird if I was Emma. If I found
he's the original toe fetish guy, I think.
Yeah, bringing the foot fetish back.
The walk behind you, Bruce.
The Randal or the Wrangle?
What's it called? The Wrangle.
Well,
Randal.
It's the Wrangler Jeans walk, I think, is where it comes from. So the Wrangler Jeans, and then he's called Randal and did it in the first one. So I think they've combined Randal and Wrangler to be the
Wrangler.
Randler or whatever.
They mentioned the funeral. On the rooftop they did a dance. When the first one, it was the hockey game.
Playing hockey. I like there was a shot from the rooftop of the quick stop at the very beginning of the fire engine. It's an exact shot that they had in the first film. I think when they're playing hockey, of looking down to the people underneath as well.
All right. The opening sign. I show you we're open. Or we're reopen this time.
Yeah.
You've already mentioned they're not supposed to be here. There's a guy who says just a pack of cigarettes. And then there's the milkmaid at the very, very end.
Yep. Did you see about her that she just happened to be in the area the day they were filming, and they were like, "Do you want to come along and be the milkmaid?" Yeah. So they just popped her back. She wasn't supposed to necessarily be there that day, as it were. But yeah, she was in town. Oh yeah, I'll come and be in the scene again.
And my original stat continues: the one nut shot.
Yep.
Not Randal. Dante gets a deserved nut shot.
He does. Was it prior to being caked? I think it was prior to being caked. Yeah. And that's it for stats. On to point 5, the 10.0. 16, he's fine as Randal. 16 in New Jersey. I had a quick.
All right.
So he's all right. Point 5, 10 point podcast quiz. What has Andy got for us in the way of quiz this week?
Right. So I've got this quiz, and it's called Andrew Ask You. You see what I did? You see what I did there?
Ask us.
So I thought this film just lends itself to just being a fun quiz anyway. So it's a quiz about the film again.
Mhm.
Nothing fancy. It's just questions. This time we'll start with Chris.
Close your eyes.
That's my random generator. Right, Chris. Just all about the film. No trickery here. What address does Randal live at with his mum?
I'm not. I've seen it somewhere. 21 Filbert Street or something. I don't know.
Close, but no.
I
Chris.
don't even have a guess.
You got the 21 right. It was 21 Jackson Street.
Ah.
That's. I read it's Ken Smith's actual childhood home, isn't it?
How
Yeah.
often did you watch the film, Chris? You said you hadn't seen it before, so
No, I read it in the.
no. But I mean, like, how long did you watch it? Did you watch it once this week or
Oh,
twice?
twice.
Twice. Okay, so
Right.
Chris's memory's probably gonna be better than mine because it's been a while since
Right.
I've seen it.
Bruce. What kind of car does Dante drive?
No, I think it's the same one as the first film. I'm gonna guess a Chrysler.
No. Chris.
Is it a Lincoln?
No, it was a Cutlass Clara.
Fair enough.
Chris. What is the iconic breakfast sandwich at Mooby's called?
An egg McMooby muffin.
I need the full thing, so no. Bruce.
If it's the full thing, I thought it was just a Mooby muffin as well.
Yes, it was.
Right.
Chris missed the A. It was
Right.
Egga, not egg Mooby muffin.
Mooby muffin. Yeah.
Bruce. Where does Becky get mayonnaise?
If I was taking from the script, I think in her cooch, I think would be the
That's the correct answer.
Not from, like, I don't know, Walmart. The quick stop.
Chris, what artwork can be seen on Jay's vest?
It's the Buddy Christ.
It is the Bloody Christ.
I was going to say, it says "Got Christ?" question mark underneath.
Yeah, I was hoping he wasn't going to pick
The
up.
artwork, I just wanted the Bloody Christ.
That's fine.
Bruce, what does Elias recommend Randal should buy Dante for his going away present?
Arwen's sword.
It's Arwen's sword.
Back to the swords everywhere. I can't. It's swords.
Chris, right, there's 2 points for this one.
Yeah.
I've lost track of the scores, by the way. I think I gave myself a point more instead of Chris.
All right.
So
I think it's
think-
3-1 to you.
Right, okay,
So-
that's what I
so
had.
yeah. It's a double pointer, Chris, if you can give me plenty of description.
Right.
Okay, so there's worth 2 points. Why can't Elias have premarital sex?
Because of the troll in his girlfriend's pants called. Oh my god. Oh, I forgot it's called. It's been mentioned that many times.
I think it's already wrong, by the way. So, just for the record.
Well, inside her foof. I
I
can't
don't
remember
think
what it's
he's gonna-
called now. There's also one in her mouth, which is called, I don't know, tongue troll or something. I can't remember.
Right, no, Chris, no points for
So-
Chris.
It's called Pillow Pants.
Pillow pants. Oh my god.
That's
it
1 point.
It lives in his girlfriend's foof, as it were. He refers to it as a pussy troll. I don't know if
Yeah.
that's. Is the mouth one? I don't know the name of the mouth one, if that's part of it, but I can't.
You're close. I'll give you a point, Bruce.
Right, okay.
It was because of Pillow Pants, the pussy troll, because it would bite off Elias's
Right.
thing.
Of course it would, yeah.
That's why.
So 1 point to me for that. Right.
1 point to you. Back to Bruce again to steal some more points.
Yeah.
What does Randal add to the back of his t-shirt or his shirt?
He adds, to his own t-shirt is Porch Monkey for life. Is what
Yes, he
puts
does.
on. And then he puts what did it say on the one on Randall's shirt? Because I couldn't, not Randall, on
Just the
Elias.
same.
Is
Just
it the
in a
same
bit
thing?
of paper.
Yeah. Right, Chris. What is the number on this? What is the number on the sticker on Dante's car window? There's a big number on it.
Oh, yeah. I think I know.
Oh, 12. I don't know.
It is 12.
For God's sake. Yes, all the numbers. The entirety of number to pick from. And you picked the right one.
Absolutely amazing. He just pulled that right out of his arse. Right, Bruce. Last question. I think you've dominated this one anyway. Where does Kinky Kelly and the Sexy Stud come from?
Tijuana, Mexico.
It is Tijuana, Mexico. There you go. Bruce
Yeah,
I
absolutely
actually get 12
dominated.
points for that. 12.
Yeah. Well, you would win.
How'd you pluck 12 out of your arse?
Oh, I don't know,
Do
12.
you know when like I know you just walk a bit, and goes. They look a bit 12. 12's the number you go to.
It's a good random number. Yeah. Because it's I also you might have just seen it and clocked it in your subconscious something. Yeah, I won kind of comfortably there. But yeah, good stuff. On to point 6, movies within movies. Chris, what have you got for movies within movies?
Well, there's obviously BrianOHalloran, Jeff Anderson, Jason Mewes, Kevin Smith, Walter Flanagan, and Scott Mosier all returning from Clerks. And then you've got all of the above as well in Dogma. And in order, it's news reporter, gun shop worker, Jay and Silent Bob, protester number 2, and Smooching Seaman. I still don't get the Smooching Seaman. I don't know where he is.
I'm not
in
sure.
Dogma.
Also, you've Ben Affleck.
Oh yeah, that was just coming up.
Affleck
As well as
from-
Ben Affleck, Battlebait, and Jason Lee from Azrael. Affleck is also in Gone Girl.
Yep.
The Hobbit loving Spear, Kevin Weisman.
Yeah.
He was in Gone in 60 Seconds as an
Hardly.
intern.
Yeah, I'm not sure what
Yep.
intern he was. I
No.
feel like I remember being angry, unless that was.
Yes,
just-
he's right at the start.
Okay, yeah.
Oh, he might be one of his friends. I don't know. Anyway, and I thought that was it until I thought, you know what, Kevin Michael Richardson, he's in everything. And I just kind of looked at the thing. He does the voice for Goro in Mortal Kombat.
All right. Okay.
Really amazing.
So, that's it. I'm not going through all the uncredited people again and all
Literally.
the dancers.
Literally, I just went. Everybody who's in a Kevin Smith movie, I just ignored, and I was like, Kevin Weisman. Let's have a look for him. And it's he wasn't something, and that's when I stopped. I just did him. So, have you done any recasting of us into the film, Chris?
I did. I was trying to remember who I did for Clerks, but I forgot.
We didn't do it. I looked at my notes. We did not do it back then, so that's why. Yeah.
Okay. Well, Andy is Randal, 100%.
Right. Okay.
Oh, you don't agree?
No.
Okay, I put because of the lack of other guys, I put myself as Elias because when I was that kind of age, I
It's
was
so
nerdy.
funny. Literally, when we were watching this, I just kept going, Chantel, Chris is so Elias.
And like,
I went for Chris as Elias, but I'll now change it because it doesn't affect me. I'll have Chris as Elias too because I kind of thought it, but it didn't quite suit what I know Chris as. But, okay.
I don't want to put you as Dante because he's a dick.
Yeah.
But I can't think of anybody else. Maybe Jay, like you, Silent Bob.
Silent Bob.
The opposite of
All right.
who you are. You
Well, see,
talk quite a lot there.
I thought I'm Randal. I really associate with Randal. Randal's kind of how I am when I work in the service industry. I'm not quite as horrible. Like
I've got the horrible shit down.
Yeah, I get annoyed by people. But the scene where they're in the jail and Randal goes up to the bar and kind of clinks on it and goes, you know, jail cells really haven't changed much. That's exactly the sort of stuff I come out. Like, why has nobody improved on jail cells yet? Like, why are they still the same? And that's the sort of thing I'm Randal. I had Chris as Dante just because, again, I struggled. But if you're Elias, that's what I was thinking. But I put Andy as the sexy stud. I
don't like interspecies erotica.
Oh, right. Okay. But yeah, it's weird that I don't feel like we really suit necessarily. Like I'm probably out of all of us closest to Randal than anybody else.
I lie, apart from the whole like pillow pants thing.
I don't know.
I like
you could have been the person I was talking about.
As soon as like they started talking about like onion rings, one ring, I was like, that's something I would have done back then.
Right, okay. Yeah.
Literally, like that was like always like anytime I have an onion ring, I always think that scene straight away every time.
Yeah. Right, movies and movies. Andy, what's your movies within movies?
I just wanted Ben Affleck a little bit more. So, like, I normally pluck somebody out or change something. I just love Affleck, and that scene, I feel like he should have been Jason Lee.
Right.
Did we switcheroo just so that
I don't know, it kind of works with Jason Lee.
Jason
It
Lee
does
wasn't meant
because
to be
who he
Jason
is.
Lee, by the way.
Eh?
Jason Lee wasn't meant to be Jason Lee. Jason Lee filmed that scene on a day off from My Name Is Earl, which is why it looks like just like Earl, because Matt Damon couldn't make it to be that scene.
right?
But I think you're right. I think Affleck would have been better with Matt Damon better as the other one.
Yeah.
But Affleck wasn't supposed to have a line, but just in one take he improvised saying whatever it was he said, and they kept that take. But he was supposed to not actually speak. What look is Affleck got? If Jason Lee is in his My Name Is Earl look, what is that Ben Affleck? Is that
that's Smoking Aces?
That's
Yeah.
right,
Yeah.
okay, Smoking Aces. But yeah,
As soon as I saw it, I was like, this must be about the same time as Smoking Aces.
it's a unique Affleck look. It doesn't look that very often. But
Dies
yeah,
too soon in that film as well.
I think Affleck would have been better as the arsehole that went to school with them.
Yeah,
Also,
other than that, then changing Kevin Smith's wife for pretty much anybody.
anybody else that she was in the team with in
Yeah.
Jason Silent Bob, any of the
Shannon
other
Elizabeth or Eliza
yeah.
Dushku, sorted.
Someone else who's way too good.
Since we're not supposed to like her, could you change her to what's she called, Linda Fiorentino?
Oh yeah,
Well, yeah,
because,
even her would have been
actually,
better.
yeah, that wouldn't be too bad. I could buy her as being like really rich and wanting to move to Florida. Very good. So again, I tried to give up on the whole movie reference stuff, but we've picked two films that just keep referencing movies. So Transformers, the live action movie is coming out. Elias's online profile, and Transformers is not blasphemous.
Definitely Chris, by the way.
Right. Okay. So that was reference. Silence of the Lambs with the Buffalo Bill, Goodbye Horses, and all that. Lord of the Rings trilogy and Star Wars. Basically, I think about this film when see them. I haven't mentioned the random Let's Go karting with raindrops falling on my head, which is Butch Cassidy and the Sundance Kid. That, and then the jail cell again. Jay talking about X-Men 2 and making it like a Magneto plastic cell and all that. So yeah, all of them are just things that were mentioned in the film. I didn't even deep dive to find that. So on to the new things I was trying to establish. Could this film have come out in 1995?
Yes.
Literally could have done, because Clerks was 1994, and basically there's nothing that puts this in 2006, whatever it was. This film, as is.
Maybe the laptop's a bit, or the computer thing's a little bit advanced.
Yeah, I guess so. But then, yeah, I remember there being more to that. Am I wrong, Andy? Is there a deleted?
That's Jane Silent Bob Strike Back.
Right. Ah, that's what it is. That's what it is.
Yous are the ones who are the cocksuckers.
That's right. Okay, so yeah, they could have just kept that for Jane Silent Bob, but this film literally could have come out the next year. Obviously, they wouldn't be 20 years older or 10 years older. They'd be 1 year older, but yeah. Who is in the wrong movie? I went for the aforementioned Jennifer Schwalbach-Smith. I think she's in the wrong. Yeah. Nothing else jumped out at me as really necessarily being the wrong actor, wrong character. Jane Silent Bob are always on the sidelines, but who's in the wrong movie? Kind of tough for this one. And then what happens next? Well, Clerks 3 happens next, so we will find out.
Have you watched the trailer yet?
No, nothing about it. I know Elias is in it, and that's about as much as I've seen.
You need to watch the trailer because it is exciting.
But my theory was going to be 2006, the DVD video rental store within a couple of years is making no money. So they have to sell the space. And at that point, the money's ties to the drug trade could then become an issue for them. Now, obviously, within canon, we assume Jane Silent Bob's money comes from them selling their image rights to make the Blunt Man and Chronic movie and Jane Silent Bob. So that's why they're actually secretly rich Christian drug dealers. But
I'm definitely going to have a bloody View Askew marathon.
I think so.
To be fair, the video shop is in Jane Silent Bob Strike Back, the reboot.
Right,
which would explain one of your things. So if you watch that, you can watch that now. That's out.
There actually is what happens next and tied it to that.
Yes.
But yeah, I think they would, personally, my opinion would be they'd have to sell that next door space. The shop would be fine, especially if we get to lockdown time. Like, that's a little corner shop, it would be fine. But yeah, the video store goes out and they have to sell the space, and then someone's got to find out where the money came from. It's like, what, drug dealers, right? Okay, that could be a problem. But yeah, that's what I had for those.
No, definitely, like, once you've watched this, Chris, you need to watch the rest of the View Askew universe. Yeah, but Jane Silent Bob reboot.
Cool.
Because it has one of the best moments, and it's up there with the Donkey Show.
And that's it. Movies and movies. I think we've covered all the different bits and pieces there. On to point 7, I believe it's still movie tropes or something like that.
Yeah, my movie tropes need to die.
Movie tropes need to die. Right, okay.
I kind of struggled for this one. And then one scene popped up. The random dance scene.
Yep, exactly. Happy dance rumble for no reason. There we go.
There's no, like, it's only to put it in for, like, shits and giggles. Like, the only reason in it is to watch Rosario Dawson's titties bouncing. That's the only good thing about it.
Which weren't the intention, like I say. Like Kevin Smith had noticed. So, yeah.
But
how stoned was he not noticing that?
But films like Grease, you expect it to happen. films like I can't think of other ones like
I'm thinking about
Shop
the
of
boys.
Horrors.
The boys episode where there was they put it as the
That's
boys
it.
musical, and it was
Yeah.
just one scene, and I'm like, but why? Like, okay, it's entertainment and it's fun, but it's why?
Tell you what, you guys are going to kill yourself when you go and watch the new Marvels film.
Oh, is there a dance number in that? Is there?
Apparently, Brie Larson has a massive sing and dance number in it, and everybody's already kicking off about it.
People are just
Oh.
waiting to jump on this film. People hate this Marvel, so for no reason at all. That's
Yeah,
like
so that's my movie trope that needs to die is random dance numbers.
I've picked almost word for word the same thing. Any from you, Andy?
Nah.
Nah.
More
Andy-
Affleck.
Andy agrees.
Stop killing Affleck off too early.
So stop having him pop in here and there. Point 8 on the Temple Podcast is our nominations for award season. So I again re-establish. I like it when you guys give me your nominations and we debate if we have a disagreeing opinion, and it makes it easier for me at the end when I'm compiling all of this, and I'll rattle off what's left at the end, and you're allowed to argue with me when I mention it. So Chris, lead us off.
I forgot to do this for a lot of them. So my best actor, I've gone for Jeff Anderson.
Yep.
My worst one, BrianOHalloran.
Right,
Yeah.
this is my head-to-head. It's definitely BrianOHalloran versus Jennifer Schwalbach Smith.
We'll
But
go with Kevin Smith's wife actually, because she is worse. I
you
feel
think
like Brian O'Halloran, we hate him because we were meant to hate him a little bit.
But she does flash her titties.
Eh,
That brings up his best actor kind of for
but
me.
she does. However, Rosario Dawson's got a lot of coverage where she doesn't, and if we like that
More
scene
exciting.
more, yeah, exactly. But yeah, I think Brian O'Halloran at least has a good scene and maybe some
Yeah.
good moments. The only argument would be is Jennifer Smith not in it enough? That might be it. Was she only bad in her scenes that she was barely in, or that's the only argument I'm making? But I think she probably wins. Really.
Give it to her.
Yeah, okay, there you go. Andy was passionately in favour of Jennifer.
My best supporting is Jason Mewes.
I went Rosario Dawson because I couldn't really fit her anywhere else, and she's out acting everybody. I think she's
Cheers.
especially the scenes where it's her versus Dante, and it's like you're out your depth, mate. You don't know who should be in here. But yeah, we'll go Jeff Anderson. Is it Jeff Anderson or Jason Mewes? Who did you say?
Jason Mewes.
Jason Mewes. Again, 'cause I think it's the perfect Jason Mewes. I think.
Biggest villain is Dante.
I thought that. I looked at it. I was like, "There's no villains. I can't think of anyone being annoying."
No.
And yeah, it's Dante, isn't it? Yeah.
I can't think of a best inanimate object.
Stuffed Mooby toy is what I've got.
Oh,
Which is like, I mean,
It's a great mascot. It's up there with the Buddy Christ.
okay.
It was a reach was the stuffed movie, but nothing else. Everything else is kind of animate that's in the film.
My worst plan is hiring a donkey show.
Oh, me and Andy like
Yeah.
the scene, but
You're a
okay,
pair of freaks.
it stands if you like. Yeah.
My worst twist was that Dante and Becky banged because you could see as soon as she walked through the door, and they were talking about the ass to mouth that they had banged. We've rebranded this into the Danny John Jules cameo, haven't we?
Most unexpected. Yeah.
Yeah, Ben Affleck.
I guess so. Yeah. I had actually as best cameo was still. I've got the cobwebs on it in the corner of my nominees. I had Wanda Sykes just because I thought she really.
Actually,
brought-
I had Wanda Sykes because I was expecting
okay.
Affleck to turn up.
Oh, there you go. Well, most unexpected could be Ben Affleck, but I think we'll have best cameo maybe might be re-established here. But Wanda Sykes was so good in her one scene that she had.
My best song is "Goodbye Horses" by Q Lazarus.
Cool. I had it or ABC. ABC is a good song, but that scene annoyed me. So yeah, Goodbye Horses. Also, because it makes me laugh. The first thing,
It's just that. It sounds good like that with the lips.
Yeah.
It's just his reaction every time. Oh yeah, I've invented the best reaction. Jay's ooh.
Okay, best reaction.
My best costume is Jay's Buffalo Bill costume.
Fair enough. Lack of costume.
Most pornographic, Jay's. Well, I say Jay's Buffalo Bill. I had that written down before the donkey show, but I don't want to talk about the donkey show, so I'm going to say Jay's Buffalo Bill dance.
I think it's less pornographic than the Donkey Show.
My pornographic one is the cow tipper. It looks amazing.
Always with the food.
So we haven't got a food one, so yeah, best food. I'm going to see the eggy McMuffin thing.
All right, actually, this is a category now. We're like, I'm going to take pornographic scene out. We're definitely have best food in the film.
Right.
Yeah.
And I'm putting cow tipper in there though.
Right.
Oh, I can't remember. What is a cow tipper?
I don't remember
That's
either.
the burger.
Whatever had
It's like
egg in it.
four burgers with bacon and everything is like massively tall.
All right, yeah, okay. Cow tipper, that'll do.
Egg.
And I'll add best pornographic scene is Rosario Dawson dancing on the roof.
Any others, Chris? Is that you?
No, that's me.
Andy, have you got any others, or was that your
Best scene, Donkey Show.
Donkey Show best scene.
I'm going to get an updated list of the nominees here.
It's massive.
It's growing.
40 categories, honestly. I just found that I was like, well, this one had a list. This one a pointy. It's like, which pointy was it? Oh, it's best scene.
Yeah, I went through the watch and did this pointy. I was like, oh, I'll add that. And I was adding more as I was doing that.
Yeah. Oh,
Right.
It's huge.
I got for Michael Pena Award, Randal explaining Lord of the Rings.
I had either that or Elias doing pillow pants. But yeah, I'll go Lord of the Rings.
Oh, that's
Yeah.
a good. I never thought of that. Yeah.
Yeah, that's up there with the Michael Pena's.
He tells 3 stories.
He does. I think that's about it, really.
Okay, best animal, Kelly. Kinky Kelly, best animal. Done her. Best entrance, they were nominated last year. I don't know if they won. Jane Silent Bob, I did enjoy. Like, you know it's coming because it's panning to the wall, and then the van drives by and they're there all of a sudden with the music and dancing around. So I'll go there. Also because they were nominated before. Done my best line, even the trees walked in those movies. Best team, that appeared at some point. Dante and Randal, they make a better team than Jane Silent Bob do in this film. I think this film was about how good a team Dante and Randal are. Best twist is the reveal of who are Kinky Kelly and the Sexy Stud. It's not a best twist because of how twisty it is. It's best twist for how well it delivers, if you know what I'm saying. Like, it's funny. So it's a twist. That's we've done that. I think that's me. We did a lot there. I think that's it. That's all our nominees for Clerks 2. Quite a lot covered there. Just about every aspect of the film, one way or another. On to point 9. The moral of the story, what we thought the lesson we were supposed to learn from the film is Star Wars is better than Lord of the Rings. That's the moral of the story.
That's a good one.
See, I was Lord of the Rings first before Star Wars. But now the prequel and the new trilogy have kind of ruined Star Wars. So the original Star Wars is better.
The Rings of Power have got to do some shifting to be better than Mando. Yeah. So I'm still Star Wars. So, what's your moral story, Chris?
Oh, well, I've got 2. Like, don't put unnecessary dance scenes in movies, and don't go ass to mouth.
Oh, yeah.
You never go ass to mouth.
Yeah, I went with the Star Wars one, but yeah, that was different. And Andy?
Since you pretty much stole all of mine, I'm just going to say, don't go into work if you're not meant to be there.
Work where you're supposed to be. That might be the
Yes.
And point 10, the 10-point rating, where we rate the film out of 10. Chris picked it. Normally, who'd never seen it normally goes last, but Chris picked it. So on you go, Chris. Go
first. So after watching Clerks 2, I feel I was a bit liberal with my 7 for Clerks. I had to go back and see what I nominated. Like, this is a much better film than Clerks. It's a lot funnier. The acting's better, I think. It does lose a point because of the erotica. No, not the erotica. Sorry, the dance sequence. I kept it as thing. So this gets a 7, but it's a tainted 7 because it's better than Clerks. But that should have been a 5 for me.
Oh, right. Okay.
What?
So you should have rated that lower than I did, and I was lower. I'm not stuck in the same sort of corner as Chris, but this Clerks 2 is good at everything that Clerks wasn't. So it looks way better, which is one of the big problems with Clerks, and the acting for the most part is comfortably better than Clerks. And it feels more like a film. Clerks, it's not a fun watch. It's like, it's a bit, I want to say the black and white and all that. This feels like a fun time film. However,
I forgot about it kept breaking up with random things. Like it'd pop up saying, I don't know, deviation or Jane Silent Bob and other things. It sort of broke the film up, the first one. This one doesn't. It just plays right the way through.
I personally, I think that the writing and
you improved Jane Silent Bob, it says.
That's right, yeah. I think the writing or the script, whichever you want to put it, is more obvious in this one. The first one feels like he's worked hard on it and nailed down what he wants from a motion picture, whereas this one feels like, oh, this is the bit I think's funny, put that in. This is the bit I think's funny. Oh, I've got an idea. Oh, you do that, daft. It feels like it's kind of a sketch show put together, so it doesn't quite flow quite as well. But yeah, it's definitely, I would turn this on and have a laugh watching this 10 times before putting the first one on and have a watch. But all that said, I'm working out. I think this is 1 point better than Clerks. So I think this is a 7. So like Chris, I've gone up. I think this one's better, but I'm keeping my Clerks was a 6. But I think this is a 7 anyway. I had 7 in my head, and I saw what I'd scored Clerks, and I had a 6. I was like, yeah, that's probably right. Andy.
Right, so this is neither better nor good than Clerks for me, because the balance out. Clerks is black and white. This is in colour. The script's not quite as good in this one. Clerks one is better. So going all the way through the film, long story short, it gets a 7.
So you and me had exactly the same reaction. That's kind
Yes,
of funny.
pretty
Very
much.
rarely do we have literally the same reaction to a film.
Like
There you
Randall's
go.
brilliant in it. The monologues are good. Jane, Silent Bob are still funny in it. It hits all the right notes. It's a Clerks film. It's a sequel that
Okay.
I said it's a sequel that's needed.
Oh, sorry. It's a perfect 7. Then everybody gave it a 7. It gets a 7. I think, yeah. As I was watching it halfway through, I'm like, this feels like a 7 so far. It's because it's enjoyable. That makes it a big difference to me if I enjoy it. Right, guesses for what Chris's theme is. It's not the View Askew-universe. Have you got any guesses, Andy?
But it has something to do with something from the View Askew.
Because I've got 3 guesses.
All right. I'm going to go for is it the Buffalo Bill dance, like people tucking their dick behind their thing?
This
I only know
sounds
3
relaxed.
Oh, 3.
I don't know how many more films you can find of that, but that's my.
There's
that's
one
my pick
Ryan
right
Reynolds
now.
does it, but I don't know if it's a TV series or if it's a film.
Yeah. So you doing it for the tuck? Is that the theme?
No, it's not
Okay,
the talk.
that's not the tuck.
Any other guesses, Andy?
That's my guess.
Right, sequels of films we've done.
No,
Weddings or marriage.
no.
Nut shots.
No.
Right, there are my 3 guesses.
Interspecies
So-
erotica.
I'm also going to say, if one of you managed to get it, no, I never went. I was going to say, don't tell the other one, but if you get it, I'll say yes, so it doesn't matter.
Yeah, we'll be
Fuck. I'm going to not listen to our guesses.
Yeah.
Yeah. In my head, it came out better than what I've just said, so just ignore that. We'll edit that out.
Yeah. The weddings one didn't come to me until they were actually talking about it. I was like, oh, Andy's getting married during the season. I bet Chris is going for that. So that was it. And then when
No,
the
it's
nutshell
not.
happened,
See, he's not as smart as me. When he was having a baby, I did all kid films.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
I didn't think about it, but I thought, nah, fuck it.
So speaking of themes, I'm picking next. I think we forgot to discuss this before the podcast, but I'm ready to.
You are,
pick.
because my pick is very time sensitive. So.
Right. Good. Okay. So speaking of themes, I don't have a theme this season. I've just picked films I want to pick, but you guys feel free to try and, I don't know, get inside the brain
We'll make
of
it.
me and work out what the theme of my films are.
We've been
19
set,
1990 is where I'm starting. In the UK, it had a different name than it did in the US. But you'll
I
be
know,
able
it's going to fuck up the entire searches here.
You'll be able to find it, and put it this way, just call it the US title, Andy. In the UK, this film from 1990, starring pretty much nobody too famous, was called Teenage Mutant Hero Turtles,
Yay.
Oh, yeah.
but is most
It's very
commonly known as Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles from 1990.
I could take that off my list.
Do you know that was genuinely on my list this season as well?
Oh, was it? Hey.
I was on for this season, but it's on my list to come up at some point.
It fits with my theme.
I'm not sure I've seen this film before. I'm not sure if I've seen it. Turtles Mania was, I was a young kid. I wanted Turtles for my Christmas. So I was middle of Teenage Mutant Hero Turtles. Apparently, I'll get into it next week.
I've always called them Ninja Turtles.
Yeah, the British, I don't know, culture being scared of ninjas and all this. I'll do some deep dive on it. I'm already intrigued when I was picking it about why the different title. But yeah, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, 1990. That's what's next week on the podcast. You all have 7 days to find it. Watch it, and we'll see you next time on the 10 Point Podcast.